Hey everybody, it's Mike from the Mike Wagner Show, powered by Sonic Web Studios, brought to you by our official sponsor of the Mike Wagner Show, international warring author Mia Molson's Missing, available on Amazon, paperback and ebook, coming soon, Missing 2, double the expense, double the fun. Check it out on Amazon. Also brought to you by a sweet psalmist special Rena Wagner, based on the life of David, including 30 exquisite pains and King David Psalms. Check it out, Amazon.com, keyword sweet psalmist Rena Wagner, and check out the Mike Wagner Show at the MikeWagnerShow.com. And catch the show on Spotify, Spreaker, iHeart, Apple Music, YouTube, BitChute, Rumble, 50 podcast platforms, heard over 100 countries. Make sure you check it out today. We're here with an amazing gentleman, an author, scribbler of fiction, born in Athens, Ohio, later grew up in St. Louis, currently living near Lorain, Ohio, which is Mudcat Falls. He's the mayor of it, and graduated from Ohio Wesleyan University, major in English and philosophy, worked in the private sector, aerospace and defense manufacturing, and also a commercial pilot and a certified flight instructor, and has a book out, which is a racing thriller as a gentleman battles 7 other top pilots at the very first national championship. It's called Racing a Dream. Live, ladies and gentlemen, Plus Studio, someone Mudcat Falls, the amazing author and scribbler of fiction, born in the Athens, Ohio area. It's called Racing a Dream, Fly Low, Fly Fast, Turn Left, got the multi-talent, MT Bass. MT, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thanks for joining us today.
Good morning. Great to be here. Thanks for having me.
Well, it's great to have you on board, MT. So you're an author and scribbler of fiction. You're born in Athens, Ohio. You later grew up in St. Louis. You're currently living near Lorain, Ohio, which is Mudcat Falls for you. You graduated from Ohio Wesleyan University, majored in English and philosophy. You worked in the private sector in aerospace and defense. Also a commercial pilot, certified flight instructor. You have a new book out called Racing Dream, Fly Low, Fly Fast, Turn Left, a racing thriller as this guy Hawk battles 7 other top level pilots at the very first, what is the national championship air races as well. And before getting all that, MT, tell us how I first got started.
Well, this is a 3rd book in a series, which Hawk is a pilot. And basically, it follows different aviation adventures through the year. The first one was a murder mystery. He was a movie stunt pilot in 1950. The second book was Jungle Land, which follows him to the Belgian Congo, where he flies T-6s in the Civil War. Then coming out of that, he returns to Los Angeles, where the first book was based. And here he gets involved in air racing at a time when it had just kind of fallen off the face of the earth. It was huge in, the 20s and 30s in Cleveland, Ohio, and up until like 1949. And then the national air races ended, and through the 50s, the sport just kind of died, and there was just no activity. So he starts off just racing other guys around and gets involved with it again. And, the story builds up to the 1964 inaugural Reno air races, which was, the very first one. It ran for 60 years. So that's kind of the basic layout of the story.
Mm-hmm. And you being a commercial pilot yourself, you seem to be drawing that. And how did you first get involved in aviation?
Well, actually, I got my private pilot certificate at Cleveland Hopkins Airport back in the late 70s, early 80s, when they still had a grass strip for flight instruction there at the airport there. So got my private pilot's license there. I moved to Colorado and lived there in the 80s. Got my commercial certificate, my instrument rating, and my flight instructor certificate out there. So.
Okay. And plus you've been doing for quite some time. What was that one exact precise moment that simply influenced you in what you're doing the rest of your career?
Well, actually, when I was going to college, I was a musician, and you said I majored in English and philosophy. What I studied creative writing, and mainly I did that to kind of help myself writing lyrics, because that was my main interest. And I got out of school, I played in bands, worked in recording studios, and did that stuff. And then kind of moved on. When I moved to Colorado, took that defense job for a while. But I kept scribbling down novels, and kind of was sitting on airplanes or sitting in airports, writing out the books and just kept going. So I think I have like 15 books out there now.
Yeah, I was going to say we like to cover some of those books as well. Who are some of your favorite authors, writers, and your favorite books growing up?
Well, my all-time favorite book is Catch-22 by Joseph Heller. And, of course, there's the aviation connection right there because it's about a B-25 bomber group in Italy. It's a dark humor book that I just always amazed when I've read it a few times, and I'm always amazed with that. Beyond that, I like Huckleberry Finn by Mark Twain, Tourist Season by Carl Hayson, Slaughterhouse-Five by Kurt Vonnegut, and and the list kind of goes on. So let's
Mm-hmm. And plus, you got to list a book yourselves as well, too, besides Racer and Dream. We'll get to that with MT Bass. But first, listen to The Mike Wagner Show at themikewagnershow.com, powered by SoundWeb Studios. Visit online at soundwebstudios.com for all your needs. Look at a professional website without breaking your budget. SonicWeb Studios is the answer. SonicWeb Studios offers fast, affordable custom web designs that blow the competition away. Call today, 1-800-303-3960. It's 1-800-303-3960. The email to support@sonicwebstudios.com. Mention the Mike Wagner Show. Get 20% off your first project. Sonic Web Studios. Take your image to the next level. Also, time to give an official shout out to our official sponsor of the Mike Wagner Show, international warring author Mia Molson-Zia. If you love fast-paced mysteries, you love Missing by Mia Molson-Zia, available on Amazon and paperback and ebook. Missing is fast-paced and intriguing with an unforgettable twist. Takes place in 4 countries, 2 strangers, 1 target, where truth is illusion and those will be the first to go missing. It's available on Amazon and paperback and ebook. Missing by Mia Molson-Zia has got great reviews. And Eve Levin and George by Howard celebrities, including Joanna Cassie, Forrest Riley, and many others. So grab your copy today. For it goes Missing by Mia Molson-Zia, available on Amazon. Coming soon, Missing 2 by Mia Molson-Zia, double the expense, double the fun. Check it out on Amazon. Also brought to you by Sweet Psalmist by Serena Wagner, based on the life of David, including Theories, Quiz of Pains, and King David's Psalms. The Sweet Psalmist gives the new perspective of David through the Psalms he wrote as the time of shepherd started and complicate yet turbulent relationship with King Saul. It's a story of love, betrayal, repentance, hope, and more. Check out the Sweet Psalmist by Serena Wagner on Amazon. Keyword Sweet Psalmist Serena Wagner. Also, check out the Mike Wagner Show at themikewagnershow.com. 40 podcast platforms, heard in 100 countries. Take us with you on any mobile device. Listen to us on Spreaker, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple, YouTube, BitChute, Rumble as well. Also on social media like Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and more. And for t-shirts, pop sockets, throw pillows, tote bags, hoodies, Amazon.com. Check out the Mike Wagner Show podcast. And for more great ideas, go to Amazon.com/Mia Molson-Zia. Great books, merchandise, and more. And support the Mike Wagner Show on Anchor FM, PayPal, and the MikeWagnerShow.com. We're here with the amazing author and scribbler of fiction, MT Bass, here on the Mike Wagner Show, residing in Mudcat Falls, USA, somewhere right there. You must be the mayor of Mudcat Falls, I take it.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of it's my own Lake Wobegon. So that's where I hang my hat.
There you go. And of course, you do a good job of writing. Besides Racing a Dream, we covered that. You did Motherless Children, Something for Nothing, Untethered, and the Murder by Munchausen series. And tell us more about this, especially one by Munchausen.
The Murder by Munchausen is about robots in the near future, 2040, 2050, that are very humanoid, and groups of cyber hackers figure out a way to break into them and turn them into hitmen for hire. So the story actually follows the police unit, and it's based in Cleveland, but it follows the police unit that tracks down the errant robots and goes after the hackers in there. There's I've got 4 books in that series: Murder by Munchausen, The Darknet, Invisible Mind, and Motherless Children. They're all in that series. And it's called Munchausen because it's people taking over for the robots and turning them into something that they shouldn't be doing. That's where the title comes from.
Right. It made me think of Baron von Munchausen, make it seem like, he's done everything, but exaggerates it.
Yeah. Yep. Just like that. So, and it's a pretty interesting series. That's like I said, in the 4th book.
Mm-hmm. And plus, we also had Motherless Children, Something for Nothing, and Untethered. Tell us about those.
Something for Nothing is about two Ohio State dropouts that go to Alaska to get rich on the Alaskan Trans-Alaska pipeline. They get up there, find it's hard to get a job. They end up working in a restaurant until they find out that there's a buried treasure up in one of the glaciers there. And they get involved with a couple of other guys, a bush pilot, a bar owner, to go up and figure out a way to get the gold out of the crashed airplane up there. So it follows that story there. Untethered is a young adult dystopian story about a guy in high school who gets sideways with the authorities and kind of checks out of the high school and onto like I said, a dystopian kind of environment there. And Motherless Children, that's like I said, that's the fourth book in the Munchausen series. It changes with some of the detectives there, and it goes after a serial killer, kind of recreating the serial killers.
Oh, yes. I think we've getting a lot of that going on these days, and hopefully doesn't happen in future in our world here. So flying pilots, Cleveland, everything like that. You also have Lodging, A Love Story, and The Invisible Mind. And tell us about those.
Okay. Lodging is that's a romance story. It's a novella that takes place in Liberal, Kansas during World War II, where they're training the B-24 pilots. And it's a high school girl that falls in love with one of the pilots there. Funny story about that is I had this idea for it. Lodging means when the wind blows down the wheat in Kansas. So I had this idea and I couldn't figure out how to put it all together. And my girlfriend Lola, she was friends with a 100-year-old woman.
Mm.
And this woman read every book on the New York Times bestseller list. And she was actually reading the biography of Keith Richards.
Oh,
She's 100
wow.
years old
Okay.
and reading the biography of Keith Richards. And she said, I don't like all the things he did, but he sure loved his mom. But anyway, that story, that story about her kind of crystallized the my tale of Lodging. So it just brought it in the focus, put it in the perspective, and helped get through that. The Invisible Mind, that's the third in the first three Munchausen series, which are very tightly woven together. The three are kind of interesting. The first book is first person told by one of the male detectives. The second book, The Dark Net, is first person told by the female. And then The Invisible Mind is third person, where they actually go after a guy who's kind of replicating serial killer homes in Cleveland and going after different as a serial killer.
Okay. And plus you also had as well too, like Define the Law of Physics as well too, and then some other books I cover In the Black and more.
Yep. Define the Laws of Physics, that I put together. I remember I told you I was studying verse when I was an English major, and that's got a lot of the poems I wrote from long ago and some of the lyrics I wrote on the songs over the years. In the Black is we talked about. I liked Catch-22. That's kind of my answer to Catch-22. It's a satire of the '60s, where I go in and go after all the people in the '60s, that lived there. Plus, it's got an element of the Defense Department. One of the main characters, owns his own aerospace company, and then it really follows his son as they go through the end of the '60s, and it's all just kind of dark humor, satire kind of stuff.
And you seem to write more about along the lines of aerospace defense work and everything like that. And what else do you base your ideas, books, and everything else on?
Just whatever comes to mind. Like I said, Lodging was totally different. That's kind of more of a military romance story. I've got the science fiction murder mysteries. I got the aviation stories, and then In the Black is the aerospace story. One that's interesting is called Crossroads that I have, and
Hmm.
it's just an ebook, but it's based on a rock and roller in the 70s gets kind of grabbed up into espionage, and it follows the story of the government going after him as he goes through the time. The thing that's interesting is it's got like 28 different songs from the 70s that are
Uh-huh.
embedded in with the book, and I've got the words are from the songs are important to the story, and then the reason it's an ebook is I put all of the songs into the book, from YouTube, either my renditions of them, which, or the original copies from Jimi Hendrix and the Rolling Stones and Supertramp. So I call it the first, I think it's the first novel that actually has its own soundtrack.
Huh, that's interesting. You got 20 of them to cover, and you know, everybody should check that out. And plus, you mentioned you being in blues as well too, and of course, you played in Cleveland for some time. And
Yep.
who are some of your favorite blues artists growing up?
Well, of course, Clapton, he's great. I like, Jeff Beck, Joe Bonamassa, he's another great guy, and of course, all the Kings, Alfred King, B.B. King, Freddie King, all those guys. So those are all folks I listen to and try to emulate.
Hmm. And that's interesting as well too. And just one more thing, do you have the book "Racing the Dream" with you right now?
As a matter of fact, I do.
Well, you
So,
know what? If you don't mind, maybe you can read like an excerpt of that. We'll get that in 1 minute with MT Bass of Racing the Dream. You listen to the Mike Wagner Show at the MikeWagnerShow.com, powered by SoundCloud Studios, brought to you by official sponsor of the Mike Wagner Show, international warring author Mia Moses Missing, The Sweet Psalmist by Serena Wagner, based on the life of David, including 30 exquisite paintings, King David Psalms, Amazon.com, keyword Sweet Psalmist Serena Wagner. We'll be back with the multi-talent MT Bass of Racing the Dream after this time up. We're back with author MT Bass of Racing the Dream. Fly low, fly fast, turn left here on the Mike Wagner Show. And, tell us about the second part of it. What's the meaning of fly low, fly fast, and turn left?
well, that's basically what the air racer pilots do. They fly low between 50 feet and 250 feet is the top altitude. 50 feet is the lowest altitude. So they're flying low, they're flying as fast as they can. And just like NASCAR, all the turns are to the left. So that's where that comes from.
That is rather interesting. And then maybe just pick up a book, Racing the Dream. Maybe you can read an excerpt from it. Would you like to do that today?
Sure, I'll read a little bit of it. But
Yeah, go
first,
ahead.
just one thing I'd just like to mention. Uh, the picture on the cover, we talked about the very first 1964 International Air Races. I was actually really lucky that I talked to them and they gave me permission to use the poster from the first air race in 1964 on the cover of my book. So
Oh,
that was
nice. Okay.
a great honor there for that.
Okay.
So just starting off, I don't know how much you want me to read. Just cut me off when you're ready.
Yeah,
But
yeah, that's fine. You can do a little bit of it, just get an
yeah,
idea.
just a
I
little
mean,
bit.
I love when people read. So it's like bedtime stories,
Sure.
afternoon, whatever it is, relax. It's a good time to do so.
Okay. Well, this is the first chapter. It's called Antelope Acres, and to start off the book. And first person from Hawk's point of view. I chased Scotty down the long straightaway, 300 feet back, 100 feet off the ground, 170 knots. A quick look at the panel, 3,600 RPM. Look, engine oil pressure green. Look, oil temperature green. All good. Banking hard into the pylon at W Avenue G and Merrick Canyon Road over the desert, a shadow on the ground to my left crawled toward my British Racing green colored wing. He had to be outside. You can't look to the right, it's just not safe. But the sun was behind us. I lofted a bit in the 80-degree turn, climbed 20 feet or so, then quickly dove back down to close another 150 feet on Scotty, picking up a bit of his wake turbulence. Rolling out and down the front straightaway, I found smooth air 25 feet above his red-hot Jensen Cassett. We used the crossroads, a pile of rocks, a little hump in the desert, and a windmill water pump to set up our 3-mile oval course. I knew Scotty from the Van Nuys, but the other three guys were new from other SoCal airports. We were all on company frequency 123.5. We joined up in a loose formation for a pace lap, then got down to the business with a flying start.
That is a really nice beginning as well, too. And it also made me think of some of the airline pilots and who are some of the aviation heroes that you grew up admiring and everything like that. Maybe some of the famous pilots you like to talk about.
Uh, well, one of the first books that I remember, reading was Triple Ace, Joseph McConnell. He was a World War or a Korean War fighter pilot who had 15 shoot downs of MiGs there. So I just remember that story is one of the most interesting. Of course, there's Chuck Yeager, Charles Lindbergh, you know, and Robin Olds, from the Vietnam War. All through the years, there's different guys. The the one guy in the book in Racing the Dream was Bill Stead. He was an actual, uh, uh, he was a pilot, and he had an airport up in Reno, and he's the one that really founded the Reno air races and got it all started on his own. And he used to actually be a boat racing pilot before he became involved in the air racing. So he had a lot of experience there.
Okay. And plus, I thought about that you're based in Cleveland as well, too. And you're not too far from the Wright Brothers Museum in Dayton as well. Every time I drive by this, like makes me think the Wright brothers.
Yeah, yeah, they're down there. When I was doing the aerospace thing for a while, I was actually calling on the Air Force offices at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. I'd go down there for like 2 or 3 days every month to call on people, talk to them about products and stuff. But one of the things I did was every time I went down there, I went to the Air Force Museum, and I actually started at the very beginning of the museum and wound my way all the way through to the Vietnam War. So I got to see the whole thing.
Mm-hmm. And it does sound like you've covered a lot of ground. And for those who want to get into being a pilot or being the Air Force, whatever, where else. First of all, whoever wants to be a pilot, what's the best advice you can give to anybody who wants to be a pilot?
Uh, if that's something you're really interested in, it's a fantastic thing to do. It's like they say, it's the most fun you can do with your clothes on. You just most flight schools offer like demo rides. So if you think you're interested, you get in touch with them, and you can usually get a very attractive price on a demo ride to go and see if you really like it, being up in a plane like that. That's the best start. And then from there, it's just making the commitment to see it through. There is a lot of study for it. You got to learn about weather, avionics, aerodynamics and stuff, but it's well worth it. If you
Mm-hmm.
get through it, get your license, then once you have it, you can go anywhere in the United States you want, anytime you want. That's
And we encourage everybody to do that. In the meantime, where can we find your book, Racing the Dream, all your works at?
it's all on Amazon under my, MT Bass is the title it's under with all my other books. My website is mtbass.net. That's where it's got all the information about my books, my audio books, and hardback, paperback covers there. You can get information, get purchasing links there.
And what's the website again?
It's www.mtbass.net, not .com, .net. There's a football player with the .com.
Or make him fly can do that too. So
Yeah.
We're here with the amazing author MT Bass of Racing Dream, Fly Low, Fly Fast, Turn Left here on the Mike Wagner Show. And MT, just a few more things. What else can we expect from you 2025 and beyond?
Well, right now I'm about 60, 70% through the follow-up book to Article 15. That's about follows an ex-Navy SEAL. He's a fixer for a law firm. And in this book, he's tracking down the stalker for a country western singer.
Okay.
Solve that problem. So that's next. And then beyond that, book number 4 in the Hawk series is called Mañana, and that's going to follow him down to Central America.
Okay. We'll certainly check that out and looking forward to it. Who do you consider biggest influence in your career?
My biggest influence in my career? Well, actually, the professor I had at Ohio Wesleyan, he was an author from Toledo. He wrote verse and novels there. So he was really a strong influence on me, helping me, learn more about the creative writing process. And then of course, I have to homage to Joseph Heller, who wrote Catch-22.
Okay, well, certainly really good as well too. What's the best advice you can give to anybody at this point? Just in general.
Just in general, my motto is persevere to the point of stupidity. You just got to keep at whatever you want to do. You just got to keep going. So that's my motto.
And I think that's really good advice as well, too. Here with author MT Bass of Racing a Dream, Fly Low, Fly Fast, Turn Left Field, the Mike Wagner Show. MT, a very big thank you for your time. You've been absolutely fantastic. Learned a lot. Looking forward to having you soon. Keep us up to date. Keep in touch. Glad to have you back. And what's your website? How do people contact you? Where can people purchase or check out your books?
What's that?
Where can people purchase or check out your books?
Again, all the ebooks are on Amazon. They're all in Kindle Unlimited. I've got the hardback books available from my website, from Barnes & Noble, from any other place that will sell printed books. You can get them there.
Okay, we'll certainly check that out. Once again, MT, a very big thank you for your time. You've been absolutely fantastic. Looking forward to having you soon. Keep us up to date. Keep in touch. Glad to have you back. We wish you all the best. And Mudcat, you definitely have a great future ahead of you.
Hey, thanks. It's been great talking to you today. I had a great time.